is set to be quite a mild night. Many towns and cities across the south not really dropping much past 14 to 15 degrees Celsius. Then to start off in the morning across Scotland, it is going to be unsettled. Still those blustery winds continuing, particularly around exposed coasts, and some quite heavy showers at times too. Once again, mainly across northern Scotland. Northern Ireland may pick up the odd shower or two, but across the rest of England and Wales, it should be mostly dry and bright. There may be some patchy cloud around, particularly across parts of Devon and Cornwall, parts of Wales and western areas of England, but that should lift and clear through the morning, leaving to plenty of sunny spells by the afternoon. But once again, a very different story across Scotland. Plenty of cloud here, some heavy outbreaks of rain, and still those strong winds around exposed coastal sites. But elsewhere, England and Wales, plenty of sunshine, and temperatures will be up by a degree or two, so feeling warm. Highs of around 25, possibly even a localised 26 degrees Celsius. Heading into Saturday, once again, much of England and Wales will see a rather settled day, but we do have this system slowly edging its way southeastwards. Once again, it could be quite blustery here with some showery outbreaks of rain, but any showers largely fizzling away, so many of us seeing a dry and bright start to the weekend. And that theme is set to continue, and temperatures are on the up. Possible heatwave conditions early next week, but otherwise, that is it from me. Bye-bye.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year. We'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight, the government claims they are now detaining more illegal immigrants and...
Nothing beats it.
This is my idea of a holiday. I'm here at the site of the Rampion 2 wind farm.
Insufferable, isn't it? We turned off wind farms during Storm Floris and it cost you 33 million quid. Plus,
we will not raise tax on working people. No tax rises for income tax, for national insurance, for VAT. We will not raise income tax.
Well, he said he wouldn't raise tax on working people, didn't he? I mean, gosh, that's fantastic, that, really. I mean... What's that noise? What's that noise? A lie has been detected in the building. A lie has been detected in the building. It looks like your taxes are going up. And... Well, a Spanish town has banned Muslims from using public buildings for celebrations. Could that happen in Britain? Also, well, breaking just moments ago, actually, the homelessness minister, who took her brief a little bit too literally and evicted her own tenants and then proceeded to hike rent on the house, has resigned tonight. In other news.
Veterans, you know, we've not come over here in a boat. We've served our country. We're getting nothing.
We're going to check in on those Bolton veterans. You know, if they had any update from the council, they're still going to be made homeless. Plus,
we all have a range of needs and differences. It's making sure we've got that view set. When I was little, I was told I'd never be able to work. Look at me now.
So, civil servants had a seminar on the guilt of being British during working hours. Well, I've got a good panel for you now. I've got political commentator Chloe Dobbs, Reform Councillor for Essex Jamie McIver, and former Labour advisor Matthew Larser. And hey, welcome to Modern Britain.
What do you study? I do business. Business, yeah. Spell business. B-E-I-S-S-I-N-S.
Get ready, Britain, here we go. I think Ed Miliband's been made to look a right pillock. Next.
Very good evening to you from the newsroom at just after 9 o'clock. Well, we'll start with a recap of that breaking news we brought you in the last half hour or so, that Labour's homelessness minister has resigned after she was accused of hiking rent on her own tenants. Rushanara Ali has stepped down tonight following claims she raised rent by hundreds of pounds just weeks after ending her previous tenant's contract. It's after the Conservatives' Kevin Hollinrake called it staggering hypocrisy. In her resignation letter, Ali insisted she followed all legal requirements, but admitted staying on would be a distraction from the government's work. Sir Keir Starmer has thanked her for diligent work and praised her efforts to repeal the Vagrancy Act and tackle harassment in public life, adding that her legacy would leave a lasting impact. Ali will return to the backbenches and continue to serve constituents in Bethnal Green and in Stepney. Plenty more on that and reaction, of course, with Patrick and his panel this hour. In other news, the Bank of England has cut interest rates to 4% today, the lowest level in more than 2 years, but only after a razor-thin vote. It's the fifth cut since last August and will bring relief to some mortgage holders, but savers could see smaller returns. Governor Andrew Bailey called the move finely balanced and warned that future cuts will be gradual and careful. amid rising food prices and weakening jobs market. Inflation is now also expected to peak at 4% in September. That would be double the bank's target, while GDP growth has all but stalled. Economists are warning that chances of yet another rate drop this year are fading fast, but the Chancellor Rachel Reeves says this cut is still welcome news.
Interest rates have now come down 5 times since Labour came to office, in part because of the stability that we've managed to return to the economy after the chopping and changing, the mini budget under the Conservatives and Liz Truss. And what that means, that 5th cut in interest rates, is that if you're taking out a mortgage for £215,000, you're going to be paying on a variable rate around £140 less a month than when we came to office just over a year ago. So this is good news for people wanting to get on the housing ladder, people remortgaging, and also businesses borrowing to grow.
The UK's new one-in, one-out migrant deal with France is officially underway today, with the first Channel arrivals now in detention. Footage and photos show migrants in life jackets disembarking in Dover just hours after the scheme came into force. Under the 11-month pilot, every illegal arrival could see one approved asylum seeker brought in via a safe route, but critics say it won't go far enough. Well, the Home Secretary said today that no one should be in any doubt. New arrivals, she says, will face immediate detention and possible return to France.
Well, the pilot has now begun, and the first migrants who arrived on small boat are now in detention. That is the first step to removing them to France, because no one should be making this journey in the first place, and that's why this is now starting the process to return people and to undermine this vile trade in people. We won't provide operational details at this point that criminal gangs can simply use and exploit. But no one should be in any doubt. Anyone who arrives from now on is eligible for immediate detention and return. And this pilot will now build, because we are determined that no one should be making this journey.
In Israel, the Prime Minister is pushing for a full military takeover of Gaza, despite warnings of catastrophic consequences. Benjamin Netanyahu is currently meeting his security cabinet to seek approval for a phased reoccupation plan. He says it is the only way to remove Hamas and liberate the people of Gaza. The UN, international allies and families of Israeli hostages fear that move could cost innocent lives and derail rescue efforts. Reports suggest the plan would begin with mass evacuations, followed by military operations, and then a 5-month push to regain control of the Strip. And that comes as the first people here in the UK have been charged under terror laws for supporting Palestine Action, now officially banned. 2 women and a man were arrested at a protest last month in London. All 3 now face charges under the Terrorism Act for displaying support for that prescribed group. It comes ahead of fresh protests set for this weekend in Parliament Square. The police are warning anyone showing support for the group can and will be arrested. The Met says it's also preparing to send case files for 26 others arrested on the same day of the protest last month. You're up to date just after 9 o'clock. I'll be back with you for the news at 10. Now, though, it's over to Patrick.
Well, good evening, everybody. We start with this breaking news that Rushanara Ali has resigned as Homelessness Minister, saying in a letter to the Prime Minister that remaining in the role would be, quote, a distraction from the ambitious work of this government. Well, it comes after she took her brief a little bit too literally and decided to evict some of her tenants, then relisted her London property with a £700 rent hike. Now, I'm willing to be corrected if I'm wrong here, but I do think this is something that Labour are actually looking to make illegal. So there you go. A spokesperson for Rushanara Ali said Rushanara takes responsibility seriously and complied with all relevant legal requirements. Yeah, shame about the moral requirements, though, isn't it, Rushanara? Because that ultimately is what's done for you. How on earth do people in these positions think they're going to get away with it? Like, oh, I'm the Homelessness Minister, I'll just evict people and then hike the rent and think that no one will notice. Sense of entitlement or what? But let's crack on with the show as planned. Do you remember Storm Floris?
Well, today, 50-mile-an-hour winds. When we do get winds up here, they're very strong. You only come out if you need to. Stay at home, stay safe.
Oh, yeah, it was windy. Supposedly 100-mile-an-hour winds, trains were cancelled, flights were delayed, I think in Nuneaton. A wheelie bin blew over. But surely this was good news for this guy.
Darling, hold my hand. Nothing beats it. This is my idea of a holiday. I'm here at the site of the Rampion 2 wind farm. 1 million homes powered. 4,000 jobs during construction. Energy security. Good job tackling the climate crisis.
Could we just leave him out there? Anyway, Ed Miliband loves wind. He loves a wind turbine. Of course, President Trump doesn't.
The other thing I say to Europe, we will not allow a windmill to be built in the United States. They're killing us. They're killing the beauty of our scenery, our valleys, our beautiful plains. And I'm not talking about airplanes. I'm talking about beautiful plains, beautiful areas in the United States. And you look up and you see windmills all over the place. It's a horrible thing. It's the most expensive form of energy. It's no good. They're made in China, almost all of them.
But Ed Miliband loves wind turbines so much he wants to put them in your back garden. He wants to put them all over the Pennines, which The Guardian got upset about because, of course, it's Bronte country. No, we can't destroy Bronte country, say the same Guardianistas that probably have no qualms about there being a giant £2 million mega mosque built in rural Cumbria. But anyway, Ed Miliband even wants to put wind turbines as tall as the Eiffel Tower in the English Channel. Yeah, that's right. The only way I'd be in favour of that is if it acted as a wall to stop the illegal invasion of Britain. But Ed Miliband looks at wind turbines in the way that most blokes look at attractive women. He looks at wind turbines in the way that an obese person looks at a Greggs steak bake. He looks at wind turbines in the way that Bob Marley looked at cannabis. He loves them so much that in his spare time, he likes to take his little ukulele out and sing to them.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
So, for failed Labour leader and notorious brother shafter, a reference to when he knifed him in the back all those years ago, not anything else, Ed Miliband, storm florist must have been all his birthdays rolled into one. Wrong. It was too windy for the wind turbines. We had to turn them off, and it cost you, the British taxpayer, 33 million quid. We had to turn them off because they would have overwhelmed the grid and all the lights would have gone out. In fact, wasted wind power has cost Britain an estimated 752 million quid so far this year, equivalent to more than £140,000 an hour. The cost has risen from a meagre 456 million over the same period in 2024. That cost, by the way, is expected to be billions of pounds over the next few years. But Ed doesn't care about your money, does he? He's personally absolutely minted, as far as I'm aware. He seems happy to waste your cash on his big, green ego trip. Talking of trips, one of his advisors racked up 40,000 air miles last year, and he himself, there you go, look at that. Ed Miliband, he's sent someone on a 46-hour trip to Brazil just to check a luxury hotel out for him for a climate conference. And then if you look at what he's done himself, he personally has a carbon footprint 12 times higher than the average Brit. Look, I mean, honestly, Ed Miliband can get his little ukulele out and strum it in front of as many wind turbines as he likes. But the fact is, when it gets too windy, we have to turn them off. And we have to rely on oil and gas. Let's get thoughts to my panel. We have got the Reform councillor, Jamie McIver, political commentator, Chloe Dobbs, and former Labour Party advisor, Matthew Larser. Jamie, I'll start with you on this. So, pretty shocking, this, really, that when it got a bit windy, it cost us money.
It's just humiliating. It's humiliating for Britain. It's humiliating for the government. But you know what actually waters my eyes a little bit is when you look at the staggering pressures local councils are under at the moment. You know, as a councillor, I see that day in, day out. And you look at the figures, and you're looking at basic things in our country that we're having to make cuts on. You know, when you look at adult social care, children's services, when you look at, you know, schools that have got, you know, water coming through the ceiling, classrooms that are too hot in the summer, and then you see the government just wasting money like that on their obsession, their ideological obsession. You know, it's so disappointing and insulting to the British people. And you know what? No one is against trying to make the country as healthy as possible. You know, no one wants to see rubbish in our rivers, etc. But what they do, they completely damage the idea of getting anywhere near that because they are ideologically obsessed and they have absolutely no respect for taxpayer money.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Ed Miliband literally wants to put wind turbines in people's gardens. He wants to put it all across the Pennines. Any plot of land that hasn't got a wind turbine on it, Ed Miliband's there, put a wind turbine on it. And then the second the wind gets above 50 miles an hour, we have to turn the flipping thing off.
Well, I mean, the national grid has a very, very poor capacity. I mean, it is so outdated. It needs sorting out. And we can't go after this net zero target until, if and when, they sort the national grid out. But Ed Miliband is too busy putting up wind turbines that we can't even turn on and we actually have to pay money to turn off than actually sorting out the national grid. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's completely, as you say, very ideological, not pragmatic at all. And this Labour government is really bad at managing expectations. They are great at over-promising and under-delivering. And they've told us, oh, your bills are all going to come down. This is going to make all the energy cheap. The reality is, with renewables, there are huge upfront costs and it will make things more expensive for at least 5 to 10 years. Maybe things will come down in the long run, but they need to at least be honest with the public about that. They've just really annoyed people. Prices are going up all the time as a consequence of this, and consequently, it's really putting people off the environmental cause.
Yeah, well, I think it probably is. Go on, Matthew. So, I
think the ukulele is probably putting a lot of people off the environmental cause, to be honest. I have to say, when I have to declare an interest, I work for Ed Miliband.
Yes, you did.
I was brought in to be the guy who's made sure he never ate a bacon sandwich anywhere near a TV camera again. He certainly wouldn't have had a ukulele in my day, is all I'm saying.
Good.
Sorry.
But just to the essence of this now, you know, I mean, bills have gone up broadly. We are now importing energy sometimes from France as well. We've got people that used to work on oil rigs in the North Sea now going and getting our oil from Indonesia and importing it in, which is worse for the environment. I mean, what is this guy playing at?
Well, look, I think the important thing about net zero, which is an objective that I support, and actually every poll says the majority of the British people support, is that you bring people with you. So, Chloe, you're absolutely right. The problem we've got at the moment is the grid cannot support the renewable energy. Wind turbines in the right place, particularly out in the middle of the sea, rather than in Bonte country or in people's back gardens, are fundamentally a good thing. They mean we're not reliant on world gas prices. So in the future, if something happens like the Ukraine war, we won't see that big spike. But we cannot be building them if we can't move that electricity around the country. At the moment, we can't move it from Scotland to England in enough volume. So, you know, I think Ed needs to be careful that he seemed to be applying common sense and not eco-zealotry, as the headlines would say it to it. Otherwise, the government will suffer.
Where is the common sense in shutting down coal mines on our mainland and then trying to say there's going to be some sort of energy security by putting a load of windmills out in the ocean where a state like Russia could come and sabotage at any moment? We've got stuff on our mainland that is being
But it is in our waters.
And also, well, we've just seen with the French that means nothing to this government. But more importantly, you know, we're cutting down trees in Canada. You know, it's just ridiculous what we're doing. And the idea, you know, energy security is fundamental to this country. We are losing jobs, shrinking our economy with the obsession with net zero, and the idea that it becomes secure by sticking them all out in the ocean. I just think
we need a mix, and that's what the government
completely flawed.
Look,
totally flawed.
We need renewables to be brought into the mix for energy security, but you don't increase energy security by saying we're going to put cement down the last gas wells in the country and no new licences for new exploration in the North Sea. That makes you less secure as a country, because I mean, if you look at the percentage of what renewables currently make up of how much energy we use, it's like a teeny tiny percentage, and that is where Ed Miliband is being a complete and utter hypocrite. You see him go on media around saying, oh, we're increasing energy security to fend off evil Putin, but he's doing the opposite, right?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, clearly, Ed Miliband, yeah, right, I do think he's very ideological, but he would argue he's got conviction in his beliefs and that he is genuinely doing his best to try to bring about net zero, which obviously, according to him, is utterly vital. But there are certain things that I think were quite disingenuous about. There was a clip I played right at the start of my monologue there, which was him on his holiday out to the wind turbines. I don't know if we might be able to bring that back up again, if possible. But if we can, that would be great. Because there's a line in there that really stood out to me when I thought about, yeah, can we do it? Go on, let's go.
Darling, hold my hand. Nothing beats it. This is my idea of a holiday. I'm here at the site of the Rampion 2 wind farm. 1 million homes powered. 4,000 jobs during construction. Energy security.
Right, so not just the thing that when he said 4,000 he held two fingers up, which is a concern, I think, but he said 4,000 jobs during construction. Right, well, that makes it sound like he's trying to fulfil his thing, green energy brings jobs. No, you had to employ people to build the wind farms. The wind farms are built, they won't have jobs there anymore. That's gone. Net zero is costing us jobs, isn't it?
Well, what's costing us jobs at the moment is that we've got energy prices that are too high. The government has said that if a big industrial consumer, so we don't lose industry, it's going to bring bills down. We need to hear the detail. We need to hear the detail on that. Look, I mean, I agree with Chloe. We've got to have a mix, and therefore the government's got a big decision coming up, which is about whether or not to reverse a decision that the court took over an oil and gas licence in Scotland. And there's a big pressure. The government, in my view, needs to reverse the court's decision, which said no to it, having the previous government having said yes to it, and it needs to say yes. A big test for Ed. And I'll tell you who Ed needs to listen to. He needs to listen to the trade unions, who represent a lot of people who work in the oil and gas industry and have been absolutely clear. People like the GMB union saying we need to have a mix, which will include oil and gas from the North Sea and not from Indonesia or anywhere else.
You know, and it's a great point. I did read an article yesterday about what might do for Ed Miliband are the unions, which would be quite ironic, really, given of course, he's a Labour minister. All right, thank you very, very much. We have got a lot more coming your way. Some great topics. Very shortly, we're going to be talking about a Spanish town that has banned Muslims from praying in public buildings, but I do wonder if we'd ever have anything like that here. But before that, of course, it is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a year and get a bonus of £5 in your bank. It's the latest Great British giveaway. But you know what? Don't worry if you've not got a mortgage or rent to pay. Of course, if you haven't got a mortgage, you're already not worried. But anyway, here's £15,000. Get stuck in.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 in cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, coming up, Labour's homelessness minister hikes rents and boots out her own tenants, while viral claims are swirling that homeless veterans were tossed out to make room for asylum seekers. I mean, gosh, you couldn't make it up. But next... Well, that's Spain, where they've banned those kind of celebrations. Do we think it would ever happen here in Britain? Stay tuned.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Well, a part of Spain has done it, but will we ever see Muslim celebrations banned in parts of Britain? It's time for that to head. Well, it's kicked off a little bit in Spain after local authorities banned Muslim festivals like Eid from public facilities. Well, the Conservative-led local council over there says that events, quote, alien to our identity, can't use civic spaces. Obviously, some people are calling it Islamophobic and discriminatory, etc. And Muslim leaders say that they're being singled out, while opposition parties say it risks dividing communities. But the decision marks a first in Spain and a potential legal flashpoint as well. It got me thinking, do you think we'd ever see anything like that in Britain? Well, I'm joined now by the former chairman of the Conservative Muslim Forum, Mohammed Amin, and journalist and commentator Khadija Khan. Thank you very much. Khadija, I'll start with you. Well, do you think we could ever see anything like that in Britain? Would it be OK, do you think, if anyone tried to introduce that in Britain?
Thank you so much for having me. It's not about what I personally like or dislike. It's about the legitimate concerns. And when we have majority consensus, then such prohibition should be in place, especially when these rituals and these traditions, religious festivals are unnecessary and not required by religion, and such prohibitions do not curtail religious freedoms. Given that what happened in Spain, Spanish Town, is not racist or Islamophobic, as the leader of the Conservative People's Party say, is that the mayor does not single anyone out for their beliefs. Yes, a fringe element of the far-right Fox Party praise it for banning Islamic celebration because they want to keep the Christian outlook of their town intact. This is something called theocratic attitude, which is prevalent in Muslim culture. This is why we see certain section of Muslim communities in the West flexing their muscles, occupying public places and using their gatherings as a show of strength, and the local people feel threatened by the growing influence of another religion. So why it is racism and Islamophobia when this happens in Spain and claimed by a far-right element, but all fine and fair when Muslim fundamentalists do it, and they do it with impunity? The bottom line should be keep religion out of political and social sphere. Be consistent when you are talking about hyper-manifestation of religiosity.
OK, Mohammed Amin, I'll bring you in now. I mean, would it really be that bad if we decided to do something like that in Britain? I do think there are quite a few Muslim countries where Christians wouldn't be allowed to go out on the streets or dominate public buildings and pray and celebrate.
Well, first of all, I'm not here to talk about other Muslim-majority countries. We can talk about some of them if you want later on, but I haven't prepared, not looked at them. What I'm interested in is our country, Britain. Now, we have an established church, which is the Church of England. The Church of England does not want other religions to be treated as second class or downtrodden. It's perfectly normal for local authorities to rent out premises that they own to community groups, to religious groups, to hold all kinds of events and festivals. When the Pope came to Manchester, I think it was about 40 years ago, there was a massive open-air mass held in a public park, and everybody was fine with that. All that I require is that all religions are treated equally and fairly rather than discrimination against one religion, namely mine.
OK, so you would view this as being discrimination, because I'll come back to Khadija in a minute, but I think Khadija's view is that really it was a democratic decision made by whoever's in charge in that particular town at that time, having been elected by the people of that area. So should the desires of the Islamic community in that area trump democracy?
I've read the story in The Guardian about that town in Spain, and what that town has decided to do is to treat one religion, namely Islam, worse than another religion, Christianity. And that is wrong. It's also against the Spanish Constitution, and I expect it to be overturned in Spanish courts.
OK, all right. Khadija, I suppose at its core, if we take it what they've said at face value, which is the, I haven't got the exact quote in front of me now, but it was along the lines of we don't want these practices that are alien to our own. I think they use that similar turn of phrase to that, i.e. they are a Catholic country. And they obviously feel in that particular area that the only real public building celebrations should be for Catholicism. Do they have a right to do that? I mean, you know, in this country we talk about being a Christian country, but I suppose we're not really anymore, are we?
But we see that this kind of attitude is prevalent, as I said, in Muslim-majority country. And as I was looking at the headlines with such lauded words such as outrage, anti-immigration, racism, Islamophobia, these words have been used to report a piece of information that a Spanish town has voted to prohibit the use of municipal buildings such as sports centers and civic halls for events marking Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr. It is deliberately made, I think, all about an attack on Islam or an attack on Muslims without having a nuanced discussion on it. Muslims in Morocco will abstain from the animal sacrifice ritual. And the reasons are the deepening economic hardship and agriculture crisis. And this ritual is very important on the occasion of Eid. And in 2024, Tajikistan has prohibited religious celebration in public places. The reasons are to preserve local culture, prevent superstition and fanaticism, curb extravagance in celebrations, elevate the spirituality of the Tajik people, and protect the rights and freedoms of children, fostering their education in the spirit of humanism and patriotism. Not to mention that Tajikistan's population is 98% Muslim. So my concern is when these discussions on such topics have long been debated within Islamic tradition in Muslim-majority countries, why can't we have these discussions in constructive manner in Western secular democratic countries without descending into whatabouteries? There has been, you know, Patrick, I don't know why we don't discuss these things here. There has been a reckoning and awakening in Muslim-majority countries when it comes to counter religious fanaticism. While we are still refusing to drag ourselves out of this all is well utopian world where everything is right as long as it is politically correct.
Well, OK, fine. And I'm going to give a final word to you on this, Mohammed. Obviously, anything you want to come back to on that, but I'm just going to pick up on something that Khadija, I think, alluded to earlier, which is that maybe sometimes these very public and mass demonstrations and celebrations in very public areas are not necessarily just about the religious festival itself. It could be seen as a show of force or cultural dominance.
That's nonsense. I've attended open-air prayers occasionally in parks. It's there because it's a large number of people and they want to get together and pray. If other people get upset by seeing large numbers of Muslims together praying, then it's those other people that have got a problem.
Okay.
I think it's the same goes for the other side. And I want to emphasize on one thing, that there is no Islamic commandment that insists on celebrating these religious festivals in public places. In fact, such lavish festivals, meals, Iftar or Eid parties are deemed to be innovation in Islam. Muslims have been instructed through and through to focus on charity, which is zakat, during the month of Ramadan or on the occasions of Eid. I think that is the most important thing that Muslims they are instructed to do so, rather than indulging themselves into lavish and extravagant festivities.
All right, so look, sorry for very, very final word on this, Mohammed. I want to let you come back and then we're going to have to go, I'm afraid. But do you not think that there's any argument to say at all that perhaps in this case, when I mean indigenous culture, I mean the Spanish, obviously, the kind of the Catholic Spanish, I suppose they would really be. Do they not have any right whatsoever to say that we're feeling a little bit like maybe we're being dominated here and we're just going to keep it for our own religion? They don't have any right for that.
The Spanish are free to have as many Roman Catholic festivals as they want in these public places. What they're not entitled to do is to discriminate Muslims who want to hold their festivals.
All right. Thank you very much. Good head-to-head. Enjoyed it. Former chairman of the Conservative Muslim Forum, Mohammed Amin there, and journalist and commentator Khadija Khan. Right, coming up, HMRC. They can't answer your calls, but has time for a taxpayer-funded guilt trip about being British. Well, while you're on hold, they're in a listening circle, unpacking colonial trauma. But next...
Veterans. You know, we've not come over here in a boat. We've served our country. We're getting nothing.
I think you remember those lads, brave veterans, appear to be being turfed out of their accommodation to make way for who knows. I wanted to check back up on how those Bolton veterans were getting on. I spoke to one of them over the phone earlier, and I tell you what, they've got a shocking story to tell. Stay tuned.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Across northwest Africa and western parts of Iberia, another heat wave is set to continue this week. Temperatures pushing into the low 40s, particularly across inland areas. And with those high temperatures comes plenty of sunshine, particularly across Spain, parts of Italy and also parts of Greece. And those UV levels are set to be high, so do take care if you're heading out on holiday. And that weather is set to continue as we head over the weekend and into next week. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head into tomorrow, it should be a brighter day for many. That's away from Scotland though. Blustery rain is set to continue, but where we do see any sunshine, it is going to be feeling warm. Back to this evening though, and there's still plenty of cloud out there, particularly where we see this cold front edging its way southeastwards, and plenty of isobars on the chart towards the north too, so a blustery end to the day and a blustery night to come, particularly across parts of Scotland. But elsewhere across England and Wales, much lighter winds, and it's likely we'll see quite prolonged clear skies at times, but outbreaks of quite heavy rain at times across northwestern Scotland set to continue. But what you will notice, it is set to be quite a mild night. Many towns and cities across the south not really dropping much past 14 to 15 degrees Celsius. Then to start off in the morning across Scotland, it is going to be unsettled. Still those blustery winds continuing, particularly around exposed coasts, and some quite heavy showers at times too, once again mainly across northern Scotland. Northern Ireland may pick up the odd shower or two, but across the rest of England and Wales, it should be mostly dry and bright. There may be some patchy cloud around, particularly across parts of Devon and Cornwall, parts of Wales and western areas of England, but that should lift and clear through the morning, leaving to plenty of sunny spells by the afternoon. But once again, a very different story across Scotland. Plenty of cloud here, some heavy outbreaks of rain, and still those strong winds around exposed coastal sites. But elsewhere, England and Wales, plenty of sunshine, and temperatures will be up by a degree or two, so feeling warm. Highs of around 25, possibly even a localised 26 degrees Celsius. Heading into Saturday, once again, much of England and Wales will see a rather settled day, but we do have this system slowly edging its way southeastwards. Once again, it could be quite blustery here with some showery outbreaks of rain, but any showers largely fizzling away, so many of us seeing a dry and bright start to the weekend. And that theme is set to continue, and temperatures are on the up. Possible heatwave conditions early next week, but otherwise, that is it from me. Bye-bye.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Now, you may remember this story. 12 veterans have been served their eviction papers in Bolton. So a letter hit the doormat, told them to get out. And it has now been reported that claims that homeless veterans are being evicted for asylum seekers are false. Now, Serco is a company that has the government contract for housing migrants who have crossed the English Channel illegally, and the Conservatives had apparently claimed that Serco had allegedly taken over management of their apartments, but apparently that's untrue. But all of that's a bit irrelevant, really, to be honest with you, because it's the plain and simple fact that people who are willing to fight and, you know, put their lives on the line for Great Britain could be turfed out. Well, we promised to keep a close eye on this. We are keeping a close eye on this, and I wanted to check back in and see how they're all getting on. I'm joined now by Reform UK councillor, I believe, yes, Trevor Jones, alongside 3 veterans, of which I can see 2 at the minute, but we've got Scott Berry, Andy Brown and Gary Doyle, I believe. That's what it says in my script anyway. All right, lads, how are you getting on, all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. That's James. He's another lad who lives downstairs.
All right, fair enough. Hello, all right, good to meet you as well. Now look, we had a little chat on the phone earlier, Gary, I think, didn't we? I just want to check, you said that this situation has not improved. You're still none the wiser, really, as to why you're being evicted or where a lot of you were going to go?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. We don't know. Obviously, I've been told by the people downstairs that they might be moving me out shortly, hopefully. But the rest of the lads, they haven't been told anything. They're still worried as well. It's took a toll on a lot of people living here's mental health as well. So yeah, we're stuck in at the minute. We don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah. Would you mind? You know, you don't have to name any names or anything, obviously. But I mean, would you mind just explaining that to us a little bit, really, about the toll that it's taking on people's mental health in there?
Yeah. So basically, like the company itself, it's Civitas who took the building off a private landlord. Now it's Qualitas who works under Civitas. So it's like a third party general. As we see it, it feels like we are being put like lab rats really in a building to see how it is, see how it goes on. Then when we got served the eviction notices, it's caused a real bad uproar in the building itself. Everyone's in panic. But there's no communication. But on the other hand as well, we do get support from the housing officers downstairs. We do get that support, but there's no support from the council. The reason why there was no payment provided from the DWP because Qualitas didn't meet the needs for the supported living. So that's why the payment wasn't going ahead. So that's why the DWP.
And just before I bring you in, Trevor, I'll just go back to you, Gary. I believe that you've been told to try to find your own accommodation. Is that right? So they're not helping you to actually find alternative accommodation.
There's 2 girls who work in the office. Brilliant, actually. To be fair, they're looking. They're trying to look for me at the minute because I've asked to move back to Merseyside or Leeds. But yeah, but. They said I might potentially got a place, but we don't know. I'm waiting for an email, to be fair, off them, but I don't know. I haven't been. It's in Merseyside, like, but I don't know where it is. But I don't know if I've got it. It's just what they've just said. I don't know if it's going to happen, like, so I'm still stuck.
This is just mad. And you guys have conceivably got to be out in there. What date is it now? 7th of August. You've probably got just over a month until you're being served out.
It's the 18th. It was the 18th. It was of September when we have to. That's when the eviction notice said 18th of September. Like I said, there's a lot of miscommunication. 18th of September.
Where are you going to go? Do you know? Do you have any idea where you're going to go?
Do you know what? For lucky for some, I could go to some place, but I'm not going to burden my family on that. So, in a way, no, I've got no place to go. But in the same sense,
there's lads in here who haven't got no family whatsoever, and have got nowhere to go. And it's like they will be living on a tent if they get kicked out of here.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. Do you know what I mean? It's just they've got nobody. I've got family, but
I just can't believe that it's been like 2 and a bit weeks or however long it's been since I last spoke to you. And we've been to the council, we've been to the housing association. You know, there was quite a big stink that was kicked up over this, and I was pretty sure they'd do something about it. And the fact that they've not, I find absolutely disgusting. And I think we're probably going to have to consider what our next move is here is the channel. But Trevor, sorry, I know you've been standing at the back, patiently waiting there. So you are a Reform UK councillor for Bolton. I mean,
no, can I just correct you on that? I'm the Bolton Reform Chairman for Reform UK.
Apologies, sorry.
Can I just tell you, with the media attention this letter has, it's been all over the country. There have been so many people being involved from all different media groups. And I would have expected in this time limit now, Bolton Council would have got on board, showed up here at these premises and showed a bit of incentive, give a bit of incentive on it. We should have had the local councillors in Falmouth and Kersley involved, who've done absolutely nothing. We should have had a lot of people, Qualitas people here helping out, because this is a dire situation. Nobody anywhere has shown anything other than, to be honest, us few at Reform. There's just nothing happening. Not even had any correspondence off the council to say we're going to be doing this on that day. Nothing. It's as if they just closed shop on it completely.
I just think it's one thing doing it initially and maybe making a mistake with a letter or something and thinking like, oh, no one will pick this up. But when you know that everyone's seen this now and the way that the country feels about how you lads are being treated, to still do nothing off the back of that, I find absolutely disgusting. But look, I was going to say I hope it sorts itself out. Obviously, it won't. I want to stay in touch with you guys. I'll probably give you a bell tomorrow or something like that, and we'll just try and see what we can do next year. I was really hoping that when I spoke to you, I gave you a call today, and I thought, all right, I hope something's been sorted out, but it's not. So, look, we'll pick it up. We'll pick it up. But look, thank you. Stay strong, everyone in there as well, and take care. All right, all the best, lads. All the best. Take care.
Thank you for all your support out there. Thank you for all the support out there. I'd like to say for everyone.
Thank you.
All right, see you in a bit. Take care. Right, we contacted Bolton Council for an update, and previously a spokesperson said to us, we share the concerns that have been raised after Qualitas Housing issued Section 21 notices to Armed Forces veterans living at Constellation House in Falmouth. We're in discussions with the housing provider to resolve the matter. The council is also in the process of contacting the tenants to offer their full support. Qualitas Housing have confirmed they have not spoken to Serco. They're not going to put asylum seekers in there. It added exempt accommodation providers receive uncapped housing benefits directly in exchange for providing support services for vulnerable tenants. In order to qualify, providers must meet specific criteria. Oh, this goes on for a heck of a long time, really, doesn't it? There you go. Right. Spokesperson for the Home Office, oh, good, we're doing this well, also confirmed that claims that asylum seekers would move into flats were incorrect. Right. Well, look, we need to watch this space. We cannot allow these lads to be just turfed out to the street, can we? Coming up.
We will not raise tax on working people. No tax rises for income tax, for national insurance, for VAT. We will not raise income tax.
Well, I think we might be on the brink of Sir Keir Starmer's biggest betrayal yet. And coming up, why are our civil service doing things like having a seminar on guilt trips about being British? Stay tuned. Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Should the British feel guilty about being British? Well, HMRC has sparked a backlash after holding a seminar during working hours, I might add, entitled The Guilt of Being British. Despite hundreds of thousands of calls from taxpayers going unanswered every month, I think there's a bigger issue here. It's symptomatic of the civil service in general. And joining me now to discuss this is Head of Doge at Reform UK, Zia Yusuf. Zia, thank you very, very much. Would you just sack these people then?
Well, look, it's clear that HMRC is an utterly dysfunctional organisation, but so is the civil service. I mean, civil servants are 60% more likely to take sick days than workers in the private sector, who, by the way, pay their wages. And obviously, this listening circle. I mean, we're so desensitised to this garbage now that people sometimes think it's parody when you see this. But no, HMRC, at taxpayer expense, those employees have been attending a listening circle, and you've got to laugh or you'll cry, about the guilt of being British. But it doesn't just stop there. I mean, it's not. I don't want to be unfair on HMRC to single them out when the whole civil service is like, even the NHS. Even the NHS had events for their employees around celebrating asexuality. That was an event that they did. They also did one focused on on non-binary things. All sorts of weird, woke protocols. There was a big event actually around National Pronouns Day, which I'm sure, Patrick, you would have been devastated.
Well, you know,
but we joke. But here's the reality, Patrick. HMRC, anyone who's tried calling HMRC will know what a struggle it is. The data backs that up. It is performing worse than ever by any metric in terms of calls answered, in terms of getting back to people. Similarly, we know the NHS is on its knees. Now, I want to be clear. There are some good, honest, hard-working people who do work in the civil service. I want to be clear about that. But there are a lot of people who are skiving. Work from home has become normalised. And actually, the evidence that it's a problem is when people like our mayor, Luke Campbell, there's an article in the Telegraph today, he's asked a section of his of those civil servants to come to work. What happened? They resigned in protest because they lived so far. Yeah, they've resigned. It's in the Telegraph today. The only way we can turn this country around, Patrick, a necessary precondition to that is total is total reform of the civil service. And sadly,
But what does that...
sadly, that will mean anyone who has turned around failing organisations knows it does mean a lot of them will need to be fired and we'll have to hire new people. There's no doubt about that whatsoever.
How did this, just very, very quickly, sorry, because we're going to have to go, how did this start? Is this our kind of like woke mind virus that's infiltrated the public sector?
I'll tell you, I would start, go and look at a policy paper. You know, the Daily Mail quoted Kemi Badenoch pushing back on all of this stuff, and she was outraged. Well, maybe she shouldn't have authored the 2022 policy paper called Inclusive Britain.
Right.
You couldn't make it up. She authored it, where she created equality hubs and inclusive workplace task forces, which created these specific programmes. So again, you've got the Tory arsonist fire brigade at it. It was a Tory government over 14 years that created this.
All right, thank you very much. Head of Doge Reform UK. HMRC spokesperson said events by staff networks should not be taken as reflecting the views of HMRC. An event like this would only be attended by around 0.1% of staff, which have no impact on the ability to monitor the health lines. Right, OK, when we come back, I think we're on the brink of Sir Keir Starmer's biggest betrayal yet. Stay tuned.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head into tomorrow, it should be a brighter day for many. That's away from Scotland, though. Blustery rain is set to continue, but where we do see any sunshine, it is going to be feeling warm. Back to this evening, though, and there's still plenty of cloud out there, particularly where we see this cold front edging its way southeastwards, and plenty of isobars on the chart towards the north too, so a blustery end to the day and a blustery night to come, particularly across parts of Scotland. But elsewhere across England and Wales, much lighter winds, and it's likely we'll see quite prolonged clear skies at times, but outbreaks of quite heavy rain at times across northwestern Scotland set to continue. But what you will notice, it is set to be quite a mild night. Many towns and cities across the south not really dropping much past 14 to 15 degrees Celsius. Then to start off in the morning across Scotland, it is going to be unsettled. Still those blustery winds continuing, particularly around exposed coasts, and some quite heavy showers at times too, once again mainly across northern Scotland. Northern Ireland may pick up the odd shower or two, but across the rest of England and Wales, it should be mostly dry and bright. There may be some patchy cloud around, particularly across parts of Devon and Cornwall, parts of Wales and western areas of England, but that should lift and clear through the morning, leaving to plenty of sunny spells by the afternoon. But once again, a very different story across Scotland. Plenty of cloud here, some heavy outbreaks of rain, and still those strong winds around exposed coastal sites. But elsewhere, England and Wales, plenty of sunshine, and temperatures will be up by a degree or two, so feeling warm. Highs of around 25, possibly even a localised 26 degrees Celsius. Heading into Saturday, once again, much of England and Wales will see a rather settled day, but we do have this system slowly edging its way southeastwards. Once again, it could be quite blustery here with some showery outbreaks of rain, but any showers largely fizzling away, so many of us seeing a dry and bright start to the weekend. And that theme is set to continue, and temperatures are on the up. Possible heatwave conditions early next week, but otherwise, that is it from me. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Let us take on some of your financial stresses and pay your mortgage or rent for the next 12 months. We want to give you a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an unbelievable £20,000. We'll also boost that by a further £5,000, so you really could have some fun in the coming year. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight. The government claims it's detaining more illegal immigrants, but...
We will not raise tax on working people. No tax rises for income tax, for national insurance, for VAT. We will not raise income tax.
It was crystal clear, wasn't it? No tax rises for working people. He said it time and time again, didn't he? What's that? You don't hear that? What's that? A lie has been detected. A massive lie has been detected in the building. Gosh, I think we're on the cusp of Sir Keir Starmer's biggest betrayal yet, aren't we? And... I'd expect this to be on the front of a couple of national newspapers. Protests as Benjamin Netanyahu has basically vowed to eradicate Hamas from Gaza and then occupy it before handing it over to Arab forces. Interesting development that. And this is the moment a son found out that his dad had won the lottery.
Oh, you're joking. You're joking. You're lying. My life.
I've got the full video for you in a little bit. It's really heartwarming stuff. On my panel tonight, we have got Reform Councillor Jamie McIver, we've got political commentator Chloe Dobbs, and former Labour advisor Matthew Larser. Oh, and I'm not sure the future's in safe hands.
What is the sum of 45 and 55?
You add it together, innit? Yeah. 95, no, 94.
Get ready, Britain, here we go. Brace yourself for Sir Keir Starmer's biggest betrayal yet. Next.
Very good evening to you from the newsroom. The top story tonight. Well, Conservative Party Chairman Kevin Hollinrake has accused the Prime Minister of presiding over what he described as a government of hypocrisy and self-service. It's after Labour's Homelessness Minister has tonight resigned after being accused of hiking rent on her own tenants. Rushanara Ali stepped down following claims she raised rent by hundreds of pounds just weeks after ending her previous tenant's contract. In her resignation letter, Ali insisted she followed all legal requirements, but admitted staying on would be a distraction from the government's work. Sir Keir Starmer has thanked her for her diligent work and said her legacy would leave a lasting impact. Ali will return, though, to the backbenches, continuing to serve constituents in Bethnal Green and in Stepney. The Bank of England has cut interest rates today to now 4%, the lowest level in more than 2 years, but only after a razor-thin vote. It's the fifth cut since last August and will bring relief to some mortgage holders, but savers could see smaller returns. The Governor has called the move finely balanced and warned that future cuts will be gradual and careful. Inflation is now also expected to peak at 4% in September, double the bank's target, while GDP growth has, well, all but stalled. Well, with economists warning the chances of another rate drop this year are fading fast, Chancellor Rachel Reeves is standing firm, saying that today's news is welcome.
Interest rates have now come down 5 times since Labour came to office, in part because of the stability that we've managed to return to the economy after the chopping and changing, the mini budget under the Conservatives and Liz Truss. And what that means, that fifth cut in interest rates, is that if you're taking out a mortgage for £215,000, you're going to be paying on a variable rate around £140 less a month than when we came to office just over a year ago. So this is good news for people wanting to get on the housing ladder, people remortgaging, and also businesses borrowing to grow.
The UK's new one-in, one-out migrant deal with France is officially underway. The first Channel arrivals are now in detention. Footage showed migrants today in life jackets disembarking in Dover just hours after the scheme came into force. It will last for 11 months and means that every illegal arrival could see one approved asylum seeker brought in via a safe route. Critics, though, say it doesn't go far enough. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper, though, says no one should be in any doubt. New arrivals, she says, will face immediate detention and possible return to France.
Well, the pilot has now begun and the first migrants who arrived on small boat are now in detention. That is the first step to removing them to France, because no one should be making this journey in the first place, and that's why this is now starting the process to return people and to undermine this vile trade in people. We won't provide operational details at this point that criminal gangs can simply use and exploit. But no one should be in any doubt. Anyone who arrives from now on is eligible for immediate detention and return. And this pilot will now build, because we are determined that no one should be making this journey.
Reports tonight in Israel of serious disagreement and opposition to the Prime Minister's push for full military takeover of Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu has been meeting his security cabinet tonight to seek approval for a phased reoccupation plan he says is the only way to remove Hamas. But the United Nations, international allies and families of Israeli hostages fear that move could cost innocent lives and derail rescue efforts. Reports are suggesting that plan would begin with massive evacuations from Gaza City, followed then by military operations and a 5-month push to regain control. And the first people have been charged under terror laws for supporting Palestine Action, now officially banned in the UK. 2 women and a man were arrested in a protest in London last month. All 3 now face charges under the Terrorism Act. It comes ahead of fresh protests this weekend. Police in London are warning anyone showing support for that group can expect to be arrested. The Met Police says it's also preparing to send case files for 26 others arrested on the same day. That's the news on GB News. Plenty more still to come right here. Don't go anywhere.
Good evening. Sir Keir Starmer could be on the brink of his biggest betrayal yet. Do you remember this?
Determined to put money back in the pockets of working people.
We made an absolute commitment in relation to not raising tax on working people.
We will not raise tax on working people. No tax rises for income tax, for national insurance, for VAT. We will not raise income tax.
He promised no more taxes on working people. No hike to income tax, national insurance or VAT. Well, 2 days ago, well, it emerged that this
£22 billion black hole.
The £22 billion black hole.
of £22 billion. Of the £22 billion black hole, the £22 billion in-year black hole
is now a £50 billion black hole. £50 billion. And in order to fill it, Rachel Reeves is almost certainly going to have to hike taxes. Sir Keir Starmer was asked directly if he would increase taxes on working people in the autumn. And he did his usual trick of not answering the question, followed by a bit more nasally guff, delivered with a glazed, robotic look in his eye.
Some of the figures that have been put out are not figures that I recognise, but the budget won't be until later in the year, and that's why we'll have the forecast then, and we'll set out our plans.
There's a marked difference there, isn't there, between his answer to that question and what he was saying in the run-up to the general election, and interestingly, actually, in Parliament as well. So that could be quite interesting, couldn't it, if it turns out, hypothetically, that he's misled Parliament. But for anyone who says that this is just a right-wing conspiracy, and even The Guardian has picked up on this now. This is The Guardian's headline on it, so they are across it. Under Labour, working people are already being taxed more. Business owners, farmers, and it looks like they're about to hike your council tax even more as well. And it'll be interesting to see if you get any more bin collections or potholes filled in for your extra cash, or whether it all just goes towards that local migrant hotel. There were signs that this might happen. After all, the PM spoke about working people, but if you remember, he wasn't able to tell you what being working class was.
What is we have the growth. Well, a working person...
Simon Cowell?
Well, a working person is someone who works their living...
I've got that.
And uses our public services. The person I have in mind...
Simon Cowell.
The person I have in my mind, Nick, when I say working people, is people who earn their living, rely on our services, and don't really have the ability to write a cheque when they get into trouble. So the sort of people I'm meeting pretty well every day now.
Pathetic, isn't it? Well, we're more than a year into this Labour government now, and Labour only have themselves to blame. They haven't had to deal with the pandemic. The war in Ukraine was already well underway. The economic mess is largely down to their own incompetence. Unemployment is at its highest level in 4 years. Why? Well, because they came after business owners, didn't they? Then they failed to cut the welfare budget because their own MPs voted against it. And by the way, we're just all expected, are we? We are all expected to just forget that this utter debacle happened.
And may I take this opportunity to thank our outstanding British Transport Police for everything that they do to support staff and passengers.
Yeah, we'll just forget that, shall we? Now, she's the woman to get us out of this mess, isn't she? I mean, paying to give away Chagos, giving out huge pay rises to the unions, continuing to fork out billions on illegal immigration, the list goes on and on and on. If Labour raises taxes on working people, then we are going to have a general election, because the public cannot cope with this level of deceit anymore. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We've got Reform Councillor Jamie McIver, political commentator Chloe Dobbs, and former Labour Party advisor Matthew Larzer. Yeah, go on, Jamie, I'll start with you on this. This looks like it could be Keir Starmer's biggest betrayal yet if working people get taxed more, surely.
No, actually, I think the biggest betrayal of this Prime Minister is paying another country to take our overseas territory. That is the biggest betrayal. That is the worst thing any state can do to itself. But you're right, this is going to really hit the pockets of working people. What I think this does, actually, far greater than damaging Keir Starmer's reputation, because that's already, like, down below, what this does is it completely destroys faith in politicians. People all the time say to me, I can't bear politicians. They say one thing, they do another. And the Prime Minister, massive majority in House of Commons, has come in, promised he wouldn't do something, and they are going to do it. And they're doing it not because of the horrific circumstances they inherited, albeit horrific. They're doing it because of their own decisions, political decisions, ideological decisions.
That's key point. I'll bring you in this, Chloe. I mean, how much of this economic mess is their fault, do you think?
I think that Rachel Reeves has made a complete mess of the economy. Of course, they inherited a not-so-perfect situation, but there's only so many times that she can stand there and say, oh, it's because of this 22 billion black hole that we inherited. She decided to raise taxes by 40 billion quid in the autumn budget and thought that that was somehow going to grow the economy. Consequently, you've got all of the rich people fleeing the country, taking their money elsewhere. Rachel Reeves, before she came in, she thought she could make all these promises about not raising taxes. because she thought, I can just do a big capital gains tax and that will sort it out, that will balance the books. Then she got in and the Treasury ran the numbers and went, no, that's not going to work because a bunch of rich people are going to leave the country. That will barely make you any money. And so she's been scrambling to make any money where she can. Meanwhile, you've got growth forecasts always being downgraded. We had 2 months of negative economic growth and consequently there's more money to find. And then you have, for example, the borrowing costs going up and up and up. After she cried, you saw those the bond yields really reflected that, which means you end up with... That's partly why you get these black holes emerging, is because of just the debt servicing cost going up and up and up. And with that interest rate cut that we have had today, Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer saying, oh, it's good news, but actually, if you look at the bond yields, the markets are not so sure about this. They think it's just a sign of how bad the economy is going.
Yeah, well, just on that, I mean, what is Keir Starmer going to do? Because some working people's taxes are going to have to go up. And he was a clip that we played there of him in Parliament saying that he wouldn't do that. That's a problem, isn't it?
I don't think that income tax, national insurance, in terms of the employee's contribution or VAT will go up. But there's going to have to be, something is going to have to go up, for sure. I think what's quite interesting is you've seen Gordon Brown over the last few days talk about things like massive increase in tax on gambling, which would bring in $2.5 billion. So I think you're thinking things like that they will do. I don't think that there will be... I think they will keep... I think the promise was very inelegantly phrased because what they should have done is what Tony Blair and, in fact, Gordon Brown did before all of those elections, which is say we're not going to put up income tax, the basic rate, rather than this phrase "working people." I have to say, you know, as a Labour advisor, sometimes ministers send me things and there's like 7 references to working people, and I said, come on, the phrase is meaningless because you can't define it. Because you saw there the Prime Minister struggles to define it. We all know what the rate of income tax is. If you're not going to put that up, say that rather than this vague phrase, which I think does lead to some cynicism.
Well, the latest polls that I've seen, by the way, shows that Sir Keir Starmer is about to lose his own seat to a party that currently doesn't have a name. I think it's what they call Your Party. Your Party. He is set to lose his seat on the back of it. As things currently stand, I think Ed Miliband could lose his seat, Jess Phillips could lose his seat, Rachel Reeves could lose his seat. I mean, it would be absolute carnage for them. If taxes go up in autumn, I just think it's game over.
I don't think they need the help of another left-wing party. I think they're toast as it is. I think I think Labour are toast, and the Tories, they are toast. But I do need to respond to that. The idea that you raise taxes on something like gambling and that's going to bring in loads of money. No, people are just going to gamble left. They haven't got any money in their pockets. You raise the price of something doesn't mean that they're going to suddenly start buying more of it. It doesn't work. Raising taxes is not how you get your way out of this. You have to make efficiencies, which is we're having to do this as a party. Reform UK having to do this in our councils, and it's working. Just today, Kent County Council, £2,000 less a day on interest because of political decisions. This is all about political decisions.
It's not, Jamie, it's about political decisions, and it's about whether or not people want investment in their NHS. So included in the budget, which did include the national insurance for employers increase, was £29 billion extra for the NHS. If Reform don't want that, they need to tell the British people they're going to have to wait longer for their operation.
Self-inflicted mess by your own decision.
The reality is Rachel Reeves, in theory, has the option to make cuts and save money instead of putting up taxes. But she's not going to be able to do that. Look what happened when they tried to put through this welfare bill. That was only going to shave $5 billion off the enormous welfare bill that's going to expected to go up to $100 billion. If there was such an outcry over that and it all got toppled...
And Reform want to spend more money on welfare because their two-child benefit cap. You want to get rid of it. You want to hide the welfare bill, Jamie. It's all talk. You can talk about it's savings, but you want to spend billions extra on the welfare bill. Fact.
I understand you want to scrutinise the incoming government from the next general election, but we are a few years away from that, and trust me, it will all be very clear. But what I think the point you're making...
Jamie, does Reform or not want to scrap the two-child benefit cap?
Reform are going to make things very efficient, and they are going to do the opposite of what your government
made clear he wants to do that, James.
Let's be very clear about that.
You want to spend more on welfare?
Let's just have a look at this as what's about to happen. So the shift from Sir Keir Starmer, we've played you all the clips there, before the last election, no tax on working people. He was asked directly about it yesterday. He gave a very, very different answer. I just don't see how, like, surely that would be a deceit too far for the British public, wouldn't it? If you then hike tax on working people. We're already paying more tax working people. Council tax, so just sell it. I mean, that's going to go up.
I mean, people are going to be absolutely furious. I mean, they are furious enough as it is because we've had lie after lie after lie over the past year. But this will be the cherry on top that really angers people. And the reality is that income tax rise, it's coming. I mean, Matthew can talk about putting up a tax on gambling, but it might raise a few coffers, and you've still got people saying, oh, don't worry, we'll just do some big wealth tax on the rich and that will sort it out. I mean, did they learn nothing from what happened with the nom-doms and the thousands and thousands of company directors leaving the country? That's not going to work. They're going to have to put income tax up, or Rachel Reeves breaks her fiscal rules. I think income tax is going to be what goes up, and people will be angry, but they're going to have absolutely no choice. I think because they've messed up the economy so badly.
I think on income tax they will hold that absolutely sacrosanct, and therefore I think what you might.
Well, what are they going to do? Do you think Rachel Reeves will break her fiscal rules?
I think they will do two things. I think they will actually have to impose cuts across the non-protected departments. So that's not NHS and not defence. And I think that they'll have to, and to show political leadership, they'll need to face down Labour MPs on welfare. And I think what they will do is something about defence spending.
But they had the opportunity to. See, that was the thing.
Which is what other countries have done.
They had the opportunity to face down their backbenchers on welfare. They had the opportunity.
In theory.
And he didn't do it.
In theory, they're going to come back
in Parliament about it instead.
Sorry, Patrick. In theory, these welfare changes are on hold, not scrap, because they are looking at it. There was Stephen Timms, the minister, is doing a review, and they're going to come back with a package of welfare changes. That's going to be a big package. It was going to help make the books balance.
I mean, there's a small chance that maybe after this review, this report, that it will happen. But that has shown us clear as day that if the Labour Party tried to cut anything, their socialist ideologues that are still in the party, still on the backbenches, are going to they're not going to go down without a fight. They are going to fight tooth and nail over every single thing. And they may have kicked a few people out of the party, but I don't think that has exactly restored unity in the party.
Jeremy, just final word to you on this, because I do feel as though the general sense, and I don't know whether my viewers and listeners feel this, it's the impression I get, people feel as though they're already being squeezed as much as they possibly can, and that the country's already being squeezed, and that there's so much waste of the money that they are being asked to eke out every single month as well. It just seems like we're kind of in financial decline personally, per capita. I think they're on very shaky ground, Labour, if they do anything different in the autumn.
People that get up every morning early, go to work, put a shift in, can't put food on the table for their families. They go to food banks like the one I've got in my division as a councillor, and already people are suffering. You do this, it's the first thing that angers people is the financial impact on their pockets. The second thing, of course, is going to be the fact they've been lied to. But I tell you something, Patrick, we're 1 year into this government. They have no discipline on their members of Parliament. You've got a weak Prime Minister that literally lies to the public daily, and you've got a Chancellor that's incompetent.
I mean, don't talk about your members of Parliament. Hang on, Rupert Lowe had to go, and the other one who's in a bit of trouble had to go. That's half your parliamentary party you were elected with a year ago. Well, so we're not taking any lessons from reform on discipline in a parliamentary party.
There you go. All right. We're gonna have to move on there. But look, I just thought I'd raise that really, because I think, you know, there's two major issues. We're going to talk about the other one next. Talk about it a lot on this show. It's illegal immigration and legal immigration. But the other issue is of course the economy. It's the money in your pocket, isn't it? And that was on the front of two national newspapers today. So I thought we'd give it a crack. Talking of money in your pocket, it's your chance to live mortgage or rent free for a year and get a bonus £5 grand in your bank as well. It's the Great British Giveaway. And hey, look, if you don't have a mortgage, you don't pay rent, don't worry, you can still win 15k. Here's how.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 in cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Coming up, so the first illegal Channel migrants were apparently detained under the terms of the UK's deal with France. So I'm going to be analysing what really happened. Stay tuned.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
27 now, Heaven, Health and Beauty in Shropshire is celebrating the official unveiling of their royal warrant today.
Well, it's been recognised as the supplier of skincare products and treatments to Her Majesty the Queen after she first used the company's products 19 years ago. She's a loyal customer.
She is a loyal customer. Jack Carson has been getting the treatment.
I was just like, I wish my mum was here to see this.
There's a beaming smile on the face of Heaven, Health and Beauty founder Deborah Mitchell as she celebrates the unveiling of their royal warrant. Starting her business with £10 in her pocket in 1995, Deborah says she's worked from the ground up and started providing skincare treatments to Her Majesty the Queen 19 years ago. Today she says she's honoured to be a recipient of a royal warrant.
It is a feeling that you cannot explain, but I was very lucky before having the royal warrant when Camilla Parker Bowles was Camilla Parker Bowles, and I didn't tell anybody I did her treatments. It hit in the press, and then this product, which is the bee venom made from bees, makes the skin look younger using a Botox alternative.
The King and Queen have granted royal warrants to almost 400 companies that supply the royal household, with each one lasting up to 5 years. It also means those companies can display the royal arms on their products. Director and daughter of Deborah, Ella Mitchell, makes this business a family affair, and she's made sure the packaging is already getting a fresh look. Ella says she's proud the products are made in Britain.
The achievement itself, you feel proud to be British, and I think that's one of the core values of us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, earlier today, the first illegal Channel migrants were detained under the terms of the UK's returns deal with France, with the government saying they'll be returned to France in the coming weeks. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper hailed this deal. She said it's groundbreaking, adding that the government is on track to do what no other government has done since this crisis first started.
Well, the pilot has now begun, and the first migrants who arrived on small boat are now in detention. That is the first step to removing them to France, because no one should be making this journey in the first place, and that's why this is now starting the process to return people and to undermine this vile trade in people. We won't provide operational details at this point that criminal gangs can simply use and exploit. But no one should be in any doubt. Anyone who arrives from now on is eligible for immediate detention and return. And this pilot will now build, because we are determined that no one should be making this journey.
OK, well, very shortly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a video of the essentially promo vid that the government put out to say that they are now detaining these people more. Unfortunately for the government, I spoke to a man who works at the Home Office, and he said that this is literally just standard procedure. I think we can have a look at this. Yeah, so they've got the same grey tracksuits on, as far as I can tell, as the blokes who were moved into the Britannia Hotel in the dead of night the other night. From what my source told me, that's just the same marquee that anyone who arrives in a small boat is taken to before they are usually sent to a hotel, but apparently this lot won't be. I'm joined now by journalist and director of the film Destination Dover, Migrants in the Channel. It's Jack Hadfield. Jack, thank you very much. Tremendous stuff. So there are several fatal flaws with this thing, of course. But what do you make of it so far? Because at least the government is trying to do a bit of PR on it.
Yes, and to be honest, I do think that's all it is. I think it is just PR, and pretty bad PR at that. You know, you would think that, oh, 1 in, 1 out means that we have people coming across the channel. So then, oh, well, then France will take one of these, to paraphrase Henry II, troublesome migrants from this country. But no, what's happening is that some of the people, a tiny percentage of these people, you know, it's only going to be at least 50 a week when we've had 25,000 migrants crossing the channel this year. No, we'll be taking somebody completely different over from France. The maths don't work out. You know, it's painted to look as if, oh, they're at the very least stemming the tide, but they're not even doing that.
What will be interesting as well is if we don't DNA test them, then we might not be entirely sure that we don't just keep receiving the same ones after we've deported them as well. We are expecting to see legal challenges to this, Jack. Shock horror. But apparently the idea of not allowing someone to even try to claim asylum could be against that pesky international law we hear so much about.
Yes, I do think that's one of the biggest problems that this country has, which is what I like to call, you know, the woke judiciary. You know, so many judges will be focused on throwing people like Lucy Connolly in jail for 1 billion years. But no, if you're breaking the law and coming across the channel, then you're coming from a country where you're 22 times more likely to be convicted for sexual assault. No, it's your God-given human right to make your way and break laws in this country as you make your way over here.
Look, is there a chance that this works? Because one thing that's really, really, really annoyed me over the years is that we've allowed a situation to happen where every single person who makes it into mainland continental Europe knows that if they get to Britain, they can just stay, really. That's basically the fact of the matter. But this is at least a little bit of, like I said before, PR, where some of these videos might filter through to the migrant camps. Also, apparently, the government is saying that they're going to do more in these camps to inform the migrants about stuff like this. They'll show them these videos. Say, if you come, you're going to go. You're going to be sent. So, I mean, is there a chance, Jack, that this actually works?
Well, I think the only thing that you could even hope to gain from this would be stopping the illegal crossings themselves. You're not actually going to stop people coming into this country. Really, the whole focus on smashing the gangs, as Keir Starmer had in his manifesto, is like looking at, oh, there have been lots of people selling heroin in this country. Organised crime gets that from heroin. So what we'll do, the perfect solution is this: let's legalise heroin. And then you have, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, you know, just drugged out on the streets of this country. What's happening is, if you just regularize these migrants, all you're doing is having the same people who are committing the crimes, who are bringing the drugs in this country. You're just allowing them to come in legally, which is somehow worse.
There is the potential that I can see. I think everyone watching and listening to this will be able to see it coming a mile off as well, which is that if one of these supposedly security checked people that the French send to us after we've sent someone back goes on to commit a crime in Britain, a serious crime, a rape, a murder, a terror offence, etc., then this whole deal, I mean, there'll be huge problems. I mean, it'll be massive problems. Just on that as well, Jack, actually. I know we didn't put you on to talk about this, but tomorrow night there's supposed to be, I believe, I'm right in saying, several demonstrations outside several different migrant hotel locations. Is that right? I ask you because I know that you've been at some of these doing some really good reporting and filming of it. So do we have any idea about what the situation might be tomorrow night?
Yes, so as far as I know, there are going to be 14 demonstrations across the country ranging from Aldershot to outside the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf, which is where I'm going to be, the Thistle City Hotel in Islington, Epping, Cheshire, Portsmouth. There's going to be lots of demonstrations here, and there's going to be even more in Saturday, Newark, Nuneaton, just to name a few there. I also believe at the same time, Stand Up to Racism have organised counter-protests for every single one of these locations. Just an aside on that, I think it'll be quite funny to see what the numbers of these people are, given we know that they seem to be turning up to the same locations across the country when the anti-asylum hotel protesters always seem to be locals.
Well, quite. Yes, it's a good job that there's not a protest somewhere in Walthamstow, because that's where most of them seem to live. But Jack, thank you very much. Jack Hadfield there, who is the director of the film Destination Dover, Migrants in the Channel, initially reacting to the fact that the government's put out a series of quite glossy videos today saying that they've detained the first ones and they're going to be deported at some point soon. Do we think it will stop? Not sure, unless you get mass actual deportations back to whatever countries they actually came from, and by that I don't mean France. I'm not really sure how we can get it off the ground. But anyway, coming up, the front pages have landed. Oh, this is where I found out about some of them. Oh, the Telegraph is leading with the Homelessness Minister, Rushanara Ali, resigning. If you're new to that story, the Homelessness Minister took her job too literally, decided to evict her own tenants. More next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Across northwest Africa and western parts of Iberia, another heat wave is set to continue this week. Temperatures pushing into the low 40s, particularly across inland areas. And with those high temperatures comes plenty of sunshine, particularly across Spain, parts of Italy and also parts of Greece. And those UV levels are set to be high, so do take care if you're heading out on holiday. And that weather is set to continue as we head over the weekend and into next week. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head into tomorrow, it should be a brighter day for many. That's away from Scotland though. Blustery rain is set to continue, but where we do see any sunshine, it is going to be feeling warm. Back to this evening though, and there's still plenty of cloud out there, particularly where we see this cold front edging its way southeastwards, and plenty of isobars on the chart towards the north too, so a blustery end to the day and a blustery night to come, particularly across parts of Scotland. But elsewhere across England and Wales, much lighter winds, and it's likely we'll see quite prolonged clear skies at times, but outbreaks of quite heavy rain at times across northwestern Scotland set to continue. But what you will notice, it is set to be quite a mild night. Many towns and cities across the south not really dropping much past 14 to 15 degrees Celsius. Then to start off in the morning across Scotland, it is going to be unsettled. Still those blustery winds continuing, particularly around exposed coasts, and some quite heavy showers at times too, once again mainly across northern Scotland. Northern Ireland may pick up the odd shower or two, but across the rest of England and Wales, it should be mostly dry and bright. There may be some patchy cloud around, particularly across parts of Devon and Cornwall, parts of Wales and western areas of England, but that should lift and clear through the morning, leaving to plenty of sunny spells by the afternoon. But once again, a very different story across Scotland. Plenty of cloud here, some heavy outbreaks of rain, and still those strong winds around exposed coastal sites. But elsewhere, England and Wales, plenty of sunshine, and temperatures will be up by a degree or two, so feeling warm. Highs of around 25, possibly even a localised 26 degrees Celsius. Heading into Saturday, once again, much of England and Wales will see a rather settled day, but we do have this system slowly edging its way southeastwards. Once again, it could be quite blustery here with some showery outbreaks of rain, but any showers largely fizzling away, so many of us seeing a dry and bright start to the weekend. And that theme is set to continue, and temperatures are on the up. Possible heatwave conditions early next week, but otherwise, that is it from me. Bye-bye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say.
How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let's whiz through the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, starting with the Daily Telegraph. Minister resigns over rental hypocrisy. I mean, it should also probably say mental hypocrisy, because this is the Minister for Homelessness, Rushanara Ali, who turfed several people out of her home and then hiked the rent. So you can't go around doing things like that, can you really? The Independent, surge in household costs puts Reeves's growth plan at risk. Interesting, really, that Sir Keir Starmer pivoted, didn't he? Which was going from, you know, oh, we're going to go for growth, to saying that we're going to see your living standards rise. You're going to feel a bit more money in your pocket. Well, it appears that that is also untrue. So that's nice. Let's go to the Daily Express. Pill for weight loss on the NHS. Experts hope exciting appetite-reducing drug could be available from next year. I am thinking of trying to do something about that, maybe. I just can't be bothered to run anymore. The Sun, asylum seasiders, prime beach hotels housing migrants. So the 3 huge hotels near one of Britain's favourite beaches. It's in Bournemouth, just in case you're wondering. So 3 of them, that's good, isn't it? Lovely British seafront there in Bournemouth. Well, at least it was. So then we go to the Metro. Here's our brave little miracle. So it's kind of a heartwarming human interest story, this. World first operation saves youngster. He's born with a 1 in a million defect. He's a lad called Connor. He's now 99% cured after surgeons come up with a novel technique. He was diagnosed with what's called here vein of Galen malformation, which I must admit I'd not heard of before, but well done Connor there. A picture of him smiling on the front page. The I paper. UK's Minister for Homelessness quits after she's caught ejecting tenants and hiking rent. I mean, the headline says it all. Oh, not quite, though, because we go to the Daily Mail. Minister for Hypocrisy is forced to quit. We'll zone in on this. Chloe, I'll start with you. I mean, this is pretty much as bad as it gets for a Minister for Homelessness.
I know. I mean, the scandals just don't stop with the Labour Party. I mean, they told us before they came in, we are going to be the party of change. We are going to be politicians who are honest, no more, getting freebies or any of this. Yes. And, I mean, they're worse than the Tories when it comes to the scandals. I mean, the Lord Ali thing just rumbled on and on and on. And I've lost count of how many scandals there have been, but this is just yet another one. And you just think, do you not have any common sense whatsoever? Like, we just found out that Lady Starmer's been taking some free tickets to Ascot, and you think, did nobody say, OK, just chill out on the freebies for a bit after the whole Lord Ali thing, have a bit of common sense? And here, did she not think, I might get in a few bad headlines if I evict my tenants and hike the rent by 700 quid, when I'm literally not just any minister, but the Minister for Homelessness? Yeah, I mean, defence, they've decriminalised rough sleeping. So, I mean, maybe
that's what she's done. That's what she's done.
Maybe she just thought, well, we'll put a tent outside and it won't really matter. But just, Matthew, on this, are Labour not trying to make this illegal?
I think it is part. I think certainly. So. She would. I'm going to do her defence, which is actually even I, as you saw there, I'll just better get the defence in.
Go on.
Which is that she says she's done nothing illegal. What she did was she told the tenants that she was going to put the house on the market, but she offered them a rolling contract whilst it was on the market. They turned that down, so they then left. She couldn't offer them another 6 months or a year because it was going to go on the market. She then says she tried to sell it. It didn't sell, so then she got new tenants in, but she did hike the rent. So I mean, look, I think you're absolutely right, Chloe. The point about this is, if you're the Minister for Homelessness, first of all, I think the big issue is, why is Number 10 appointed...
Sorry, big issue, homelessness, that's what... I thought you did that deliberately.
No, I'm not sharp. I don't know. I'm not sharp as you, Patrick.
Accidental. Carry on, sorry.
Absolutely. We're not saying she made anybody nobody was sleeping on the streets because of this. But we had this with Tulip Siddiq, who was the minister, the anti-corruption minister, for whom just putting it mildly, there were and are questions. I think that's safe phrasing, isn't it? And if you were the Minister for Homelessness, did somebody in number 10 not sort of say, do you rent a house out? What's your position? Do you realise you're probably going to have to keep the tenants in even if they do whatever they do and however little they're paying, because it's a terrible look. It's common sense. This government needs some common sense.
Well, go on, Jamie. I mean, but the Daily Mail's front page is strong. Minister for Hypocrisy is forced to quit. Strong.
Well, I mean, this takes away. I mean, I don't know, because obviously I'm not a government minister, but apparently when they dish out these jobs, it's not even that well thought through. I mean, that's something
that does seem to be the issue.
Well, I mean, they gave the corruption minister job to Tulip Sadiq.
Well, what I was actually going to say is they seem to match it pretty well, don't they, to help in the opposition? Maybe they've forgotten their job. But no, I think the whole thing is embarrassing. And I think this, again, just plays into the whole, they're all in it for themselves. I mean, in fairness, we do have, of course, there are some people that have nightmare tenants, but it doesn't seem like that's the case here. I think this just seems to be like someone that has just clearly forgotten who they are for a second, and as already been pointed out, this just adds to a long list of ridiculous, unbelievable standards in public office.
But you're right about this. But what about the double standard in the establishment press? I get that right now we're looking at a front page on the Daily Mail. Minister for Hypocrisy is forced to quit. She's on a couple of other front pages as well. But we have had the freebies scandal, the accommodation scandal with Lord Ali as well. We've had all sorts of scandals like that. The corruption minister, the housing minister. We've got obviously huge issues when it comes to
with the Labour MP landlord.
Yes, who is not a slum landlord.
Who's not a slum landlord.
You cannot call him a slum landlord.
Call him a slum landlord.
Absolutely. Although the interior of that property,
or anything like that would be terrible.
You just can't say that about the guy.
Made a slumlet nice.
But anyway, there were issues in the properties and all of this. But if this was the Tories and it had been a year and all of this stuff had happened in a year, we'd never hear the bloody end of it, Chloe, would we?
No. Well, I mean, the Tories, they did have their fair number of sleaze scandals and whatnot themselves. But I think everyone just rolled their eyes and thought, typical Tories, this is what they're always at. And you had all the Labour politicians on the opposition benches pointing their fingers, right? And then they turned out to be a load of hypocrites. The reason why this is all very shocking to us is because a lot of people didn't expect it. A lot of people genuinely believed, at least to some degree, that Labour were going to be different. They're a bit more working class. They're there not just for the money and for the ego boost of having a big role. They're there because they genuinely want to help working people, to use Keir Starmer's terminology, right? And they've just shown that they are exactly the same. We call them the uni party now.
I mean, remember even Reform with James McMurdoch, with the questions about his behaviour during the pandemic with business bounce back loans. I say questions, no more than that. But look, I think the issue here is, why is somebody in number 10 before anybody's appointed not going to the to the anti-corruption minister? Are there any questions about corruption around you? To the homelessness minister, are you a landlord? And if so, can we just look at the detail? It's like saying to the sports, it's like appointing a sports minister and not asking them if they like sport.
Well, it's Lisa Nandy. We know she doesn't.
But she also likes the arts.
Come on!
Steph Peacock's the sports minister and she loves sport, the actual sports minister.
More to Patrick's point about, the freebies and stuff, what I don't understand, MPs earn decent money. They earn decent money. Why can't they pay to go to Taylor Swift? Why do they have to go in a box? They're meant to be in touch with the people.
£4 a month is what she's charging in rent now.
No, to live in East London. A spokesperson for Promotional Ali said Promotional takes her responsibilities seriously and complied with all relevant legal requirements, but has decided to quit anyway. So that's not the end of the statement. I added that bit anyway. Right, an influencer goes out on the streets of London asking very basic questions to people. Some would think it's common sense or basic maths, but it isn't the case for this person. Let's take a look.
What do you study? I do business. Business? Yeah. Spell business. B-E-I-S-S-I-N-S. Business. Bro, am I tripping?
A little bit, yeah. Next question is, what is the sum of 45 and 55?
You add it together, innit? Yeah. 95, no, 94. 94, yeah, 94. That's 94.
Are you good at maths?
Yeah, I pass.
And what's your morning routine like?
I wake up, go toilet.
Oh, yeah, look, loads more Could be aware for the break, stay tuned. Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
You seen the president yet?
Morning, guys. No, not yet. We're just in the press room behind the scenes. I've got my Trump Turnberry coffee cup, though, just to prove to you that I really am here. We're waiting here basically until we get the nod to run out, hopefully to see Donald Trump and Keir Starmer together. These occasions, I'm realising, are a little bit sort of hurry up and wait. We think that the Prime Minister and the President might be meeting outdoors today. Yesterday, you might have seen Trump with Ursula von der Leyen in the amazing ballroom, in the grand ballroom here at Turnberry. Well, the weather is surprisingly nice for Scotland. The sun is out, it isn't raining. So there's a chance that we will get to talk to these two world leaders, but we won't be in the ballroom. We'll be outside, I think, on the golf course. We're just waiting to hear.
And what's the atmosphere like, Bev? Is there a lot of excitement?
I think amongst the press, they're all fairly used to this sort of thing. I mean, I still feel a little bit like a competition winner because I came on Air Force One, and I'm still really excited about the whole ordeal. But I think a lot of people here have done this sort of thing before. You know, we've had an influx this morning of the British press. So I'm with the international call who came over on Air Force One, and there are about 13 of us. But the British press are here as well today. They're all obviously keen to get their own questions into Starmer. It will be that setting where, you know, we just all go for it if we can and throw a question out in that direction. I got lucky on Friday when we were on the runway at Prestwick Airport, Glasgow Prestwick Airport, when we landed on Air Force One, and I asked him about immigration, and of course he gave us that line about the fact that Europe has to get its act together.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Well, welcome back, everybody. So we are going to do the rest of tomorrow's front pages. The Guardian first. Netanyahu defies warnings over taking military control of all Gaza. That is quite a big story, actually. There have been some protests in Israel this evening. The next newspaper that we are doing is the Mirror. Weight loss pill on the NHS. No jabs revolution. So there you go. That's on 2 national newspapers. There they are. Right. Well, we've only got about 3 minutes. So let's just very briefly touch on the Netanyahu situation. Do that a little bit later on. In case you're not aware, which I'm sure you are, Netanyahu's basically said that he's going to essentially initially just take control of Gaza, set up some kind of humanitarian camp there, then hand it over to an Arab state or an Arab force to then look after the people that remain. Is that actually an elegant solution to a problem? Because it gets rid of Hamas, Chloe?
I think that whatever way you do it, Hamas absolutely has to be gone. I know some people are of the view, oh, just get Hamas to hand the hostages back. And once the hostages are back, just let Hamas keep ruling the place. Hamas have been very clear. They want to do October 7th again and again and again until Israel is annihilated. They will just rearm and they'll do it again. right? And they are, you might think, oh, that's crazy because all the people in Gaza, you've got people dying and so many Hamas leaders are dying, but they are a fundamentalist ideology where they want to be martyrs. They think that they're going to go to heaven and get their 72 virgins and live a better life if they die for the cause, right? So you've got to realise who you're dealing with. So I don't know the best way to do it, but I think if it does mean that Israel has to go in temporarily, it can't be permanent, to make that happen, then so be it.
Well, what do you reckon on this, Jamie?
Well, I think what Netanyahu is doing is what he promised to do, which is wipe Hamas away, and Hamas want to wipe his country off the map. So I think anyone with a pragmatic brain can understand why he wants to do this. I think the problem is he's not doing himself any PR favours on the international stage, and so he has to manage this strategy very carefully. His strategy is the same as what it's always been, get rid of Hamas, but what we have to make sure we always do is ensure that Israel is always supported with getting rid. They are fighting a war for the West right now, and that's what I think the West is forgetting.
There are protests currently in Israel.
Absolutely. And actually, you've seen today in Israel quite a few sort of military figures, former military chiefs, and people who've advised Netanyahu say it's just not sustainable. They're just, you know, Israel just doesn't have enough soldiers to occupy the Gaza Strip, even if it's temporary. So I think actually there's going to be a lot of pushback within it, even more pushback going on within Israel on this.
No, exactly. Yes, OK. All right, well, look, that's probably just about enough for this particular show. But, of course, we've got Late Edition later on tonight following this, and there's loads to go out, really. We've obviously got this Minister for Homelessness who's now essentially...
Jobless.
Jobless. Minister for Joblessness, there you go. Got me a bit of legal strife there. Shouldn't technically make them homeless. This story on the front of the Sun, I think, is going to be a good one to pick up on as well. Asylum Seasiders, 3 asylum hotels in Bournemouth alone on the beachfront. Tomorrow there is expected to be around 14 separate protests at 14 different locations about asylum in this country. So, you know, we'll probably tease ahead to that. Pill for weight loss on the NHS has got 2 of them. There's loads more there, but I would just like to say thank you to my wonderful panel. Thank you to you at home for watching and listening. And please do make sure that you keep it GB News for the next hour at least, because I'll be with you for Late Edition very shortly.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head into tomorrow, it should be a brighter day for many. That's away from Scotland, though. Blustery rain is set to continue, but where we do see any sunshine, it is going to be feeling warm. Back to this evening, though, and there's still plenty of cloud out there, particularly where we see this cold front edging its way southeastwards, and plenty of isobars on the chart towards the north too, so a blustery end to the day and a blustery night to come, particularly across parts of Scotland. But elsewhere across England and Wales, much lighter winds, and it's likely we'll see quite prolonged clear skies at times, but outbreaks of quite heavy rain at times across northwestern Scotland set to continue. But what you will notice, it is set to be quite a mild night. Many towns and cities across the south not really dropping much past 14 to 15 degrees Celsius. Then to start off in the morning across Scotland, it is going to be unsettled. Still those blustery winds continuing, particularly around exposed coasts, and some quite heavy showers at times too, once again mainly across northern Scotland. Northern Ireland may pick up the odd shower or two, but across the rest of England and Wales, it should be mostly dry and bright. There may be some patchy cloud around, particularly across parts of Devon and Cornwall, parts of Wales and western areas of England.